I cracked a jar, took one sniff, and said, "This smells like a candle store, not a kitchen." Then we checked the label, pages of ingredients to prop up the weak tomatoes. Multiply that by 14 and a pattern appears. We're ranking the worst offenders and the few that taste like real food. Expect blunt verdicts. Too sweet, too salty, too fake. Then, the clean options that keep it simple and actually deliver. Number 1. Prego Traditional. You think traditional means simple, but the first spoon of Prego hits like dessert. Sweet rush first, tomato second. Your palate gets sugar up front, then a quick drop. Why so candy-like? Long labels with added sugar and vague natural flavors patch weak tomatoes and tired herbs. The jar pours a dark, uniform red, typical of high-heat retort and tomato concentrates. That heat dulls brightness, so the sweetness steps in. Then salt kicks hard, leaving a short, sharp aftertaste that dries your mouth. Health reviewers warn budget sauces for added sugars and sodium. Sensory panels flag perfume-like notes and a cloying finish, more cologne than kitchen. Number 2. Ragu Old World Style. Nostalgia says nonna. Your tongue says salt bomb. The label leans old world, but the taste reads engineered. Thick body, soft tomato, heavy salt. With 480 milligrams of sodium in a half cup, you get a fast hit of flavor that then dries your palate. That's how high salt works. Big first impression, then fatigue. Puree blends and thickeners smooth the edges, but they also flatten texture, so every bite feels the same. Add sugar, dried aromatics, and natural flavor, and the tomato gets pushed to the back row. Rankings of unhealthiest marinara flag this jar for sodium, and sensory notes often call out a thin tomato character buried under salt. Number 3, Bertolli tomato and basil, Jared. You pay for basil and balance. You get perfume and paste. Open the jar and the first hit is candle shop basil, loud oils, not garden fresh leaf. The body pours slick and uniform with little tomato bite. That happens when basil oils get cooked hard or used heavy. Added sugar and tomato concentrate round off real acidity, so you taste smooth and sweet, not bright and savory. Taste tests call it perfumey, not herby. The color leans darker, a sign of concentrate and longer cook times that mute fresh notes. Reviews flag higher than needed sugar, even when salt and fat look tame on the label. Number 4. Classico 4 cheese. 4 cheeses sound rich, but this jar finishes sweet and a little sticky on your tongue. Cheese blends can hide thin tomato flavor. Added sugar and stabilizers smooth the bite, but they also flatten the sauce. Dairy plus high sodium makes a heavy, cloying mouthfeel that lingers when processors lean on cheese powders or concentrates. Acidity gets muted, so the sauce loses lift and tastes dull. Health lenses warn that cheese-forward jars run calorie-dense, salty, and higher in saturated fat than a plain marinara. It feels comforting at first, then weighs you down, like tossing a blanket over weak tomatoes. Number 5. Hunt's pasta sauce. Known for tomatoes, but this sauce tastes cooked to sleep. That's what happens with an industrial tomato paste base and a long cook. You get deep color, low brightness. Sweeteners push roundness, not real tomato pop. The retort heat darkens and caramelizes, so the fresh edge fades. Then added sugar steps in to cover the drop in natural acidity. Salt anchors it, but leaves a dull, sticky aftertaste that hangs on your tongue like glue. Taste panels call it tomatoey, but shallow, which tracks with paste-first formulas. Value jars often land on unhealthiest lists for added sugar and sodium, and this fits that mold. Number 6, Francesco Rinaldi tomato and basil. The sniff test says floral. Your fork says thin. Basil hits first, but not in a savory way, more like a perfume strip. Then the sweetness leads while tomato hangs back. The texture stays glossy and even, with no real tomato pieces, and none of that clean olive oil bloom you expect from a pan low-cost oils, and added sugar can stand in for simmer time, so you get surface-level flavor without depth. Basil flavorings drift perfumey when they're pushed hard, and you lose that fresh leaf bite. Taste tests call out perfume store vibes. Nutrition write-ups flag sodium doing the heavy lifting on flavor, which wears your palate out. Number 7. Barilla Traditional Pasta Sauce. You trust the pasta, but the sauce tells a different factory story. Clean label look, but the ingredient count creeps and the sweetness shows up fast. The texture stays samey, like heavy puree with help from thickeners. That's what shelf-stable long-haul lines face. Months in transit push stabilizers, higher salt, and hard heat that dulls bright tomato and fresh herbs. Consumer panels call it middling. Safe, a bit sweet, not bright. Health angles flag moderate sugars and sodium for something labeled traditional, and the taste leans flat rather than fresh. Some tasters even note a fake metallic edge and a salty finish, which tracks with that process-heavy path. Number 8. Newman's Own Tomato and Basil, Jared. You buy to give back. But what are you giving your palate? Charity model aside, this jar leans sweet with a soft, cooked-down tomato note. Under heat, the basil tips perfumey, like a room spray instead of a fresh leaf. Even mission-driven brands run mainstream factory steps. So long cooks and paste-heavy bases trade brightness for shelf life. Sweetness can balance acidity, but it also dulls tomato truth and blurs the finish. Sensory write-ups call the profile bland sweet, and nutrition panels show moderate to high sugars for a savory sauce. One ranking even called it a failure to make good pasta sauce. Number 9. Walmart Great Value Pasta Sauce. The sticker wins, the flavor doesn't. Low price often means a paste-first base, added sugar, and higher salt to fake depth. You taste a uniform, glossy sauce that feels samey from first bite to last commodity tomatoes, and cost-driven oils trim pennies but strip nuance, like turning a radio to mono. Sugar and salt restore impact, but the hit is blunt and tiring. Health write-ups flag bargain jars for high sodium and hidden sugars. PFAS testing also raises broader packaging questions in value lines. Though some organic options in this brand tested without detectable levels of organic fluorine above 10 parts per million. That's good news, but it doesn't fix the flavor load. Number 10. Aldi Regano Traditional Sauce. Aldi promises stripped-down costs. But this jar isn't stripped-down ingredients. You expect simple. You get sweet and salty with a roster of minor additives and a dark, uniform hue. The tomato feels thin, like the life got cooked out long supply chains push retort stability. So factories lean on sugar and salt to cover seasonal swings and hold a steady taste month to month. That quick sweetness hits first, then fades, while herbs drift perfumey instead of savory. Budget jar tests note bland tomato, perfume-like herbs, and fast sweetness. Health reviews warn on sodium, which can spike blood pressure and wear you down. Number 1. Rao's Homemade. Why do people swear this tastes like a stovetop simmer? Because it reads like a recipe you'd cook at home. Yes, it costs more, but the difference is real. You get whole tomatoes, olive oil, onion, garlic, basil, and salt. No sugar. The color looks tomato forward, not brown. The aroma is bright. The oil carries flavor across your tongue, so you don't need gums or thickeners to fake body. Taste rankings often put it near the top, and the nutrition panel shows lower sugar per serving than mass-market jars without artificial sweeteners. That lines up with how it eats. Clear tomato, clean finish, no sticky aftertaste. Number 2. Primal Kitchen Tomato Basil. No added sugar, often reads thin. Not here. This stays bright without sweeteners or cheese. Quality tomatoes do the heavy lift, while olive and avocado oil give body so it coats noodles without gums. That clean fat base steadies acid the way a good pan sauce does after a splash of oil and heat. Paleo and keto labels here mean no sweeteners and no dairy. Yet the acidity lands clear and the finish stays clean. Health-leaning reviews highlight the low sugar and cleaner oils. Sensory notes praise balanced acidity, real basil aroma, and a fresh, savory lift instead of a candle vibe. Number 3. Yo Mama's Marinara. Read the label out loud. Olive oil, crushed tomatoes, garlic, onion, basil. 5 words you actually know. Minimal ingredients demand better tomatoes. Do they deliver? Yes. You see real pieces in the pour, not a glossy puree wall. No gums, no sweeteners. The texture breaks on the noodle like a pan sauce, and the color reads bright red, not brown. That's the payoff when the base stays simple and the cook stays sane. Clean eating lists rate it high for clear labels and low sugar. Sensory notes back that up. Homemade aroma, fresh color, and a clean finish that doesn't stick. It feels like someone cooked and stopped at the right time. Number 4. Whole Foods 365 Organic Marinara. Organic doesn't always mean safer or tastier. This jar often hits both. PFAS tests flagged some organic sauces for chemicals. How does 365 fare? You get a short list. Organic tomatoes, olive oil, garlic, onion, basil. No added sugar. Sodium stays competitive for a marinara, so flavor lands clean, not harsh. The taste reads tomato first with a real oil carry, not a gummy thicken it and hope. Reports note most sauces show non-detects, though a few organic brands popped. Supply chain shakeups can push contamination when older gear or sources sneak in. Glass helps here. It sidesteps liners like BPA and lowers PFAS risk compared to coated cans.